Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of the Mick Schumacher career mode. And I've got a big confession to make, guys, before this video starts. Now, unfortunately, I did record Austria and I did put out a few loose tweets on my Twitter account. So if you don't follow me on there, I do urge you to go over there and follow me just in case there's any updates regarding the videos at Tom97HD. But it turns out I recorded Austria, and when I was recording the replay cams, I basically finished recording replay cams, but for some reason my recording software wouldn't stop recording, and I was pressing every combination of buttons possible to stop it. So I managed to get out of my game, tab out, and close the software of recording. However, this seemed to have corrupted my entire recording, and not just that, it actually crashed my game, and I couldn't actually go back into my game anyway to like save it. So it basically moved me straight onto Austria to Silverstone, sorry, because even though in the game itself said the next part of my career mode was round 9, the race in Austria, well, as soon as I loaded up, it gave me Silverstone. So unfortunately there won't be an episode for Austria, but I can tell you that Mick Schumacher started 17th in the race, and he ended up winning the race in mixed conditions thanks to some brilliant strategy calls and a one-stop strategy, go from the soft tire straight over to the intermediates, and therefore winning the race. Now, hopefully that sort of brilliance can be repeated around here at Silverstone, but it's going to be a tricky one because this is a much more complex track than Austria in terms of having more corners, and overall the man are struggling more with the downforce department. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into the story of qualifying and see how the manor gets up in the grid. So here we are for a beautiful Saturday afternoon for qualifying here at Silverstone, and Mick is looking to get his head down to business and try and get some good lap times under his belt and try and get himself into the top 10 at least, and also continue his brilliant run this season of scoring points in every single race this season, which is something that he's been able to do in every single Grand Prix. So it's absolutely an incredible record to do in the manor, and the manor car no longer the worst team on the grid and now the 5th best team on the grid, I believe. But as you can see, so far so good as he successfully completes a lap in Q1 to get him through into the next part of qualifying. And moving into Q2, we're going to run on board for the entirety of this lap now on the medium tyre, actually opting for a slightly harder compound. Going to try and gamble to see if he can get into Q3 on this tyre. Going through turn 1, beautifully hitting the apex there, carrying as much speed as possible as we now go into turn number 3, into the village section. A little bit of a lock up on the right front, keeping it in third gear, swinging it out into turn 4, just kissing the apex ever so slightly in second gear, then getting through the power, getting through the gears as we now propel ourselves onto the Wellington straight, opening up the DRS. I'm now waiting for the first sector split, which is coming up right about now. So far, not too shabby here from Mick Schumacher, only a couple of tenths down on Max Verstappen as we now go into Luffield here, long swooping right-hander, got very patient on the throttle before getting the power down and planting it down into the old pit straight, and now approaching the famous old turn 1 Cops corner here, up into 8th gear, but waiting for the braking point, and then deciding to throw the nose in, lunging it in, a little bit of understeer on the manor, just running a little bit wide out of the curbs, out of the white lines there, just not having the grip on the front end of this car as we now swing it into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, now trying to carry as much speed through this entire section as possible, missing the apex there midway through Beckett's. We're getting a good exit out of Chapel onto the hangar straight, and so far as we come across the second sector split, it's not too bad, and so far we've got a good chance of getting into Q3 if Mick can hold it all together now into the final sector, which is this is his weakest sector compared to the AI. So a big performance here is going to be needed as he runs it right to the ragged edge, right to the white line as we now prepare ourselves for the Vale chicane, missing the apex ever so slightly in third gear, swinging it right now before club corner, the final corner of the track, and across the line, and the lap is going to be just about good enough for P9 across the line. Only a few minutes to go in the session, and now we're going to wait and see what happens in terms of the other cars. And it looks like Mick Schumacher has successfully got a Q3 appearance in the British Grand Prix, so good performance there on the medium tyre, let's not forget. And a really good qualifying here so far for Mick Schumacher. And in Q3, the rain made its presence felt. As you can see, the clouds were darkening over in Q2, and now in Q3 the rain has officially made its appearance here in Silverstone, and it wouldn't be the British Grand Prix without a little bit of rain. But the lap's going absolutely incredibly so far for Mick Schumacher, hitting some purple sectors there in the middle sector, but now in the final sector, which is his weakest one, can he pull it out of the bag and get pole position? It's going to be a long shot in the manor car, but across the line, and it's P4 for Mick Schumacher in his car, and not too bad actually, a brilliant qualifying considering the circumstances, and I think the car is maybe a little bit high up on the grid compared to what his pace should be, but P4 for the British Grand Prix, it's a fantastic achievement there for the manor car, and Mick will be very happy with that result, and hopefully that can carry him on to a positive race result. But without further ado, we're going to jump into Sunday for the race for the British Grand Prix and round 8 of the season. So here we are, it's race day at Silverstone, a beautiful sunny afternoon, once again just like Saturday, but hopefully this time the clouds don't make their presence felt and it stays like this for the entirety of the Grand Prix. And I just realised I made a little mistake, it's not round 8, it's actually round 10 of the season, so my apologies. But as you can see, a nice sunny day, 22 degrees Celsius and perfect conditions for some racing, so hopefully Mick can try and get a good result. Obviously the pressure is on, last time getting a win in Austria, like I said, a very, very incredible result, and the paddock were absolutely shocked with that result there from the German driver, and obviously he's going to try and pull the rabbit out of the hat once again here at Silverstone, if possible, to try and get a good result, because right now as things stand, if the manner keeps improving at the rate it is, there could be a chance to challenge for the world title, but it's a very, very outside shot. But nevertheless, now focusing on the task in hand as a 5. Red lights come on for the British Grand Prix, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. And Mick gets a pretty poor launch off the line there, getting mugged off by both of the Williams just behind, but he's actually managed to get alongside Lewis Hamilton into the first corner here, going around the outside of the home favourite here. Can he make the move on Lewis? Yes, he does, just about getting it done on the brakes into turn 3 and up into P4 on the first lap of the race here at Silverstone. However, Lewis looking very racy, he's trying to go around the outside, but there's no room through there for Lewis Hamilton, and Mick holds on to P4 for now as we go on to the Wellington Straight for the first time this race, trying to settle into a rhythm, and hopefully Mick can try and find his rhythm around here, his wits about him, and try and get a bit of a good pace underneath this Manor car. But moving on to the start of the next lap, Lewis Hamilton already trying to get the hammer down, going up the inside of Mick into the first corner, running a little bit wide, but Mick just about holds it, and he goes around the outside and holds on to P4 momentarily, but Lewis surely is going to be done yet, and obviously the Wellington Straight is coming up, so I think Lewis is going to be looking to try and make an overtake here on the young German rookie, and it looks like Lewis has actually got a pretty good exit out the corner, looking in the mirrors behind, and here he comes. He's going to not DRS open just yet, it's still disabled, but Lewis has got a great run with that Mercedes car, and it's going to be Mercedes versus Mercedes power unit, and Lewis makes the move up the inside just about, but Mick gets a great little switchback line and picks up the traction mid-corner and actually re-overtakes Lewis Hamilton there for P4, so a good bit of dicing between these two brilliant drivers here so far, and only lap 2 of the Grand Prix. But moving later on to another lap, and on the exit of Chapel, Mick actually gets onto the grass a little bit, running a little bit too wide, and that's going to allow Lewis to capitalise. He's going to try and make a move this time up the inside, going side by side down the hangar straight. It's a great camera angle, and Lewis is going to outbrake Mick up the inside of Stowe. But however, look at Mick, he's going to try and hang around the outside on the medium tyres, and he just about pulls it off as they go side by side into the Val chicane. Can Mick hold out the inside? It's going to be very close. Lewis is giving him the room quite fairly, and then Mick switches back on him once again, picking up the traction, and he remakes the move once again, and a fantastic overtake on Lewis Hamilton there, and great defensive driving from this rookie here, and still in P4 on lap 3, but Lewis Hamilton once again, this time DRS assistance enabled, and here he goes up the inside of the hangar straight into Stowe. Is he going to make the move this time? It looks like he's pulled it off once again. He's going to try and have a look around the outside. It's going to be very tight, very, very tight here, and actually can't get ahead of him just yet. He's going to have a look on the brakes, but he thinks better of it, and Lewis Hamilton this time does get the move done for P4. And moving on to the end of lap number 4 now, Lance Stroll was actually behind Mick Schumacher, but Lewis Hamilton there just ahead of him. Mick not losing too much ground to the home favourite. However, he peels off into the pit lane with, I believe, a Ferrari that I can see there that might be Kimi Raikkonen, but that promotes him momentarily up into P3. However, going on this medium tyre strategy, Mick's got to try and drag his tyres out a little bit and try and get the tyre life as he momentarily sets the fast lap of the race, but then gets replaced by Ricciardo. Now Lance Stroll going up the inside of the first corner, making the move, and then a yellow flag, and I think Stroll's had an issue making the move. I think he might have had a puncture possibly, because he just dropped off the pace dramatically, causing yellow flags. So something's gone wrong there with the Canadian rookie, and we're going to have to look into maybe a replay later on as to what happened to him. But just focus on task in hand now. In the very next lap, we're actually going to get a safety car triggered, so I wonder if that was because of Lance maybe triggering some sort of accident or something happening with him. So not exactly sure what happened. I think it looked like a puncture to me, but you know, it could have been maybe an engine blowout or something. But we're going to look at a replay here, and Lance goes up the inside of the first corner, and then out of nowhere, bang, there goes the right rear. So Lance having a big puncture through a high-speed corner, and that's actually going to hold up a little bit of a train, as you can see, going through the next couple of corners, holding up a Jaguar, a Red Bull, and I believe the Ferrari Sebastian Vettel there. But this is a good opportunity for Mick Schumacher to come into the pit lane and come in for a set of hard tyres, the orange wool hard tyres, trying to go for the harder compounds this race, trying to go nice and long in the Manor car, because last time out in Austria, using the hardest available compound, which was the soft tyre, actually gave him the race win, or should I say really helped his chances of a race win, because he basically didn't do any stops in the dry conditions, went very, very long on the soft tyre, and then went straight over to the intermediates, and hopefully he can sort of replicate some sort of strategy like that in this race. And you can see, going on to the hard tyres, confirming the strategy option for him. And now it's a question of seeing where he rejoins on the track behind, I believe, the Red Bull of Verstappen and also Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes. So so far the race going very well for Mick in this British Grand Prix, and actually putting up a pretty good fight in a car that is sort of struggling with the downforce around here and doesn't really have the front end bite that, you know, some of the other cars around him has. But moving on to lap 10 now, and the safety car has peeled off into the pit lane, and we're back underway in racing now. We've been racing for a whole lap, and there's little train of cars here, and so far in P9 Mick's looking to make a move as Perez locks up. There's a bit of contact there between Mick and also Max, but look at this, side by side Perez and Verstappen. Mick's going to wait for his opportunity. Perez runs a little bit deep into the final corner. He's going to slice back underneath him, get side by side with the Mexican, and go up the inside of the first corner and take P8 there from Sergio Perez, who I believe hasn't pit yet, and he's struggling a little bit on that medium tyre. And moving on to lap 12 now, a couple laps later, still in P7 now, but we've got yellow flag once again, and I wonder who that's. Oh, it's Perez. Perez is out of the race, so yet another retirement, very close to Mick Schumacher. Maybe like a bit of a curse this race, but another retirement is Sergio Perez, and we saw a big puff of smoke, and indeed it's the Mercedes power unit giving way in the back of that Force India, and he peels off onto the side of the track, and that is the end of his British Grand Prix as we move now onto lap 15. Now Sebastian Vettel is out of the race, so cars dropping out this Grand Prix left, right and centre, and yet another retirement here in the British Grand Prix. We've got a safety car again for the second time this race, so we're going to look at a replay of what happened to Sebastian Vettel. And now going through turn 2, bang, oh, he hits the Williams coming out of pit lane, and that may be like a racing incident, a bit of a dodgy one to call. You guys let me know in the comments, but I think the Williams just sort of swerved. I think it was Bottas. I think he just swerved a little bit too much into the path of Sebastian there, but nevertheless, as you can see, the remaining cars on the softer tyres actually pit into the pit lane, whereas Mick is actually going to stay out on these hards. And there was a long discussion going on between him and the team, and they've decided they're going to try and stretch it out to the end of the race on these tyres, which is going to be a stretch because they are going to look at second hand now. But the position on track right now is so precious, and first place is actually a really good place to be in. So as you can see now on lap 18, the safety cars come in and it's green flag conditions once again, and luckily for Mick Schumacher, he's got Nico Rosberg behind. However, the good thing about this is that even though there's a battle going on track, I believe Mick's going to get the gap out, because as soon as this restart happened, there was a massive battle going on behind. And if you look at the minimap now, lap 22, there's been a massive space between the cars behind him. However, Lewis Hamilton is the man on the move right now, making a move up the inside of Brooklands now into the Luffield section. And is Lewis going to make the move? No, he isn't just yet. Mick's going to hold it around the outside of the British driver in his home race and hold on to P1 for now. Once again, just like in the first part of the race, defending against the home favourite in a stellar defensive job here. Now midway through lap 22 onto the hanger straight, Lewis Hamilton with DRS assistance flies past Mick Schumacher. Is he going to make the move? Mick's going to try and think about getting back underneath him on the brakes, but it's no use. Lewis Hamilton has the move and he's into the lead of the British Grand Prix. And as we move later on to the end of lap 23, now Kevin Magnussen is out of the race, so another DNF here at Silverstone. And now Max Verstappen is trying to get in on the action as he flies up the inside of Mick Schumacher, and Mick really starting to suffer now with these very worn tyres, but he's going to try and go around the outside of Verstappen. Can he pull it off? Just about. Side by side action. Is he going to go up the inside on the brakes here? Yes, he is. He's going to stick his nose in. Max leaves him the room. Side by side action through the Val chicane, and Mick's going to go around the outside. Can he pick up the traction? A bit of contact. Max makes the move, and Mick has to divert onto the AstroTurf, but still holds on to P2. Incredible driving here, and great action so far between these two young drivers here. And now moving on to lap 24, you can see the left front on 70% now, really starting to scream in agony and pain, and also the fact that it's just a manor car, so obviously the downforce isn't particularly great. But here comes Max Verstappen once again. DRS assistance down the hanger straight. He's going to try and go around the outside of Mick Schumacher, and he does make the move this time, and I think that might be the move done and dusted. And this time Verstappen does pull it off successfully, just like Lewis Hamilton, a carbon copy of his overtake a few laps ago. And it looks like that's going to be the end of the action as we move on to lap 26. 81% on the left front, so really struggling there with the left front, but Mick's just about going to nurse the car home for an incredible P3 at the British Grand Prix and a podium finish. Absolutely incredible result from the young German, and yet another podium after the brilliant win in Austria. And as you can see, third step on the podium there for Mick Schumacher. So an incredible drive today, and great strategy staying out on those hard tyres, and I think that was the right call from everybody involved to keep him out, because it is a manor, so you're not going to do that much progress on a fresh set of tyres whilst recovering through the field, because the car has its limitations. So A great result there for Mick. Also Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton obviously in his home race, winning his cherished home race, the British Grand Prix, and a big fat 25 points for him there, and hopefully he'll be very happy with that and very chuffed to take that back to Brackley. But looking at the final race results, you can see that P3 for Mick Schumacher, a great result, a well-deserved 15 points. So that's going to be a very, very welcome change, and just a good string of results from Mick Schumacher, and once again continuing his streak of scoring points in every single race this season. And that means that now in the World Drivers' Championship, you can see what I said right at the start of the video, he could be in contention for the World Drivers' Championship if the car keeps improving slightly. Obviously not in the Constructors as you can see right now, but still doing very well in the Constructors' Championship nonetheless. But overall, that was the British Grand Prix, and I do apologise once again for missing out Austria, but there was nothing I could do, and hope you guys can accept my apology for that. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, a massive thumbs up would be greatly appreciated, and if you can subscribe to my channel, that also be greatly appreciated. And also if you check out these videos on screen right now, if you didn't already, then that would also be a good recommendation for you to go watch. But nevertheless, thanks so much for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.